So in specific, it was the social issue of transportation for women in Saudi, and kind of the progression of that over the accumulated years. As I was doing my thesis in university, 2014, actually 2013 and 14, so there was a movement for women to drive. So this kind of happens every like 10-12 years. A herd of women kind of like feel very empowered to do something like that. So there was one that happened then, and it was actually very negative. It was a very negative event because a lot of women actually got hurt. They didn't really know how to drive. It was very rebellious and it wasn't safe. So that kind of got me thinking about how we can talk about social issues without being so rebellious, without being so without having all these kind of restrictions to ourselves and have not feel safe. So I kind of decided to look at how design can trigger social change, and if it does at all, and how to do that without rebellion, how to kind of penetrate the minds of people through dialogue and communication, because that's what we need. We don't need a riot. We need to talk. So that was basically one of the major incidents that allowed me to look into it a little bit deeper. Well, I mean, well, it is a date of history. It's June 22, 2018. Women will be actually allowed to drive in Saudi, and that historical moment is going to make a lot of changes in Saudi, socially, politically, economically, and a lot of these changes will focus on gender equality and the progression of that. I think a lot of the youth are part of this movement. A lot of us are so excited to see what's going to come up next, and there are so many opportunities now for both males and females. So it's really exciting. I love Saudi. I loved it. I've always loved it. I found some sort of kind of haven there. And yes, I feel for a lot of people, no one will understand what I love about it. But a lot of people, even foreigners who just have lived there for a really long time, really find that source of relationship with it and that feeling of home. I know schools here, for example, like the American school here in Dubai, I know very well because my younger brother is there. And his teachers change every year. My math teacher left, my English teacher left. My English teacher has been and is still in Saudi teaching the same subject for the past almost now 24 years. They don't want to leave, and I go back and I see everyone, because now I tell him, are you going to come back and visit? He's like, when I come back and visit, no, none of the teachers are going to know who I am. I still go back and they all know me, and it's really nice, and they're all foreigners that have lived in Saudi, and they just feel that sort of close relationship. So it was a beautiful place to grow up in. Yes, we had some restrictions, but we learned to kind of accept them, go around them. We started to appreciate life. When we went out for vacation or holiday, we appreciated what that means. And it sort of, those restrictions taught us that appreciation that we don't have anymore. Everything for us is so like high expectations now. Wherever we go, we're complaining. Now it's different. It's not. I can't say it's very different, but it is different, and you can sense that difference because I know exactly what it was before. For someone who walks into Saudi today, will say, oh, it's exactly the same. But internally, within the community, within the social community, we can feel the difference. Just by the simplicity of talking to a male salesperson, that's changed. I mean, it was very different before. Me walking down the street, that's changed. That experience has changed. So very subtle, but very how I can say culture bonding, because they're small moments, but they're at the same time very big to us. So basically, my parents, while I was in, my father always had work around the GCC, so he did come to Dubai quite often, and we did have a home here for a very long time, but we always came as visitors. So when I was, during my years in university, second year, I was in New York, my parents decided to move. and do the kind of proper move to Dubai. So I moved back. I mean, I do have a lot of work in Saudi, my friends, my family, I go back all the time, but I'm based here now, which is also amazing. So I get the best of both worlds.